NFL free agency is about to kick off, and there are going to be plenty of guys finding new homes during this fantasy football season. We all know that changing scenery, we think about Saquon Barkley a few years back and how much of an impact that had on his value. Finding guys in the right situations and where they end up can completely change the fantasy football landscape heading into next season. So, we are going to break down the best fits for all the position and skill players available here in the 2026 free agent class. What's going on, everybody? I'm Blitz Link, and I'm here with the Dean. He's back. We got him back. It's awesome to have you back, Dean. How has it been?
Appreciate it. It has been good. Wild fantasy and NFL last season. Crazy to see it. And now we're already back in the swing of things. Off season, free agency. Let's get it going.
Awesome, dude. We're going to start off with the quarterback position, the most important one, and we're going to start off with maybe the guy that has the highest ceiling if he lands in the right spot in Kyler Murray. What are your thoughts on Murray, and can he have a little bit of a revival here in a new home potentially?
Yeah, I think it really depends on that home specifically. I think the hot news right now is that if he goes to Minnesota, boom, I'm right back in on Kyler Murray. Listen, when he got drafted, he was off to a hot start, especially fantasy wise, being a top 10 quarterback year in and year out. But since 2021, only had a QB 10 finish in 2024. That was it. We need a resurgence from him. And I think KOC and the Vikings would be perfect for him. If not, I'm a little hesitant on Kyler Murray if he goes anywhere else.
Yeah, the Browns would scare me. The Jets would scare me. The only other team
Mm-hmm.
besides the Vikings that'd be interesting is the Falcons. But I agree that the Vikings
Sure. Yeah.
are that elite spot. KOC's done wonders with Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. Kyler Murray can fit that mold as well. Another intriguing option is Malik Willis. Now, Malik Willis had a really good few game stretch when Jordan Love was injured for the Packers, showed elite rushing upside, showcased some 20 plus point performances during that stretch. I think he's an intriguing option. From what I expect, I think Tua is definitely a release candidate or a trade candidate here in the next few weeks.
Mhm.
But Willis could be that guy that slots into Miami, pairs himself alongside Devon Achane, and runs a very run heavy offense, and that'd be great for his fantasy value, having that rushing production and a spot that he can go into. Oh, and he has Jalen Waddle there as well, which definitely helps out in that case scenario. So I think with Malik Willis, an opportunity like that would be great. I don't love the Pittsburgh fit. I just don't think they have as many weapons as Miami, and I don't think it would work out as well. So I think the Dolphins would be the best fit for Malik Willis.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that seems like a perfect fit for Malik Willis. I think he's probably in that territory. I think everyone's looking for the next Sam Darnold, right? And he's kind of having that same trajectory. Later pick, of course, not a higher pick when he was first drafted, but what he's shown last year with that Green Bay offense when Jordan Love was hurt. I would love to see a second chance from Malik Willis. Let's see him a full year starting, and I think Miami would be the perfect spot for him.
100%. All right. The veteran quarterbacks, Dean. You have Aaron Rodgers in here. You got Kirk Cousins in here. You got Geno Smith in here. You got Marcus Mariota in this group as well. Are there any of these guys you look at that if they land in the right spot, they could potentially be a top 16 to 18 quarterback this upcoming year? Because, I mean, top 12 seems a little bit out of the question for some of these guys.
Sure, yeah, definitely. I don't even know. I think maybe places that these guys have been before. I think if maybe Rodgers does go back to the Steelers, possibly if the Vikings do miss out maybe on Kyler Murray in this scenario, right? And they go back for Kirk Cousins for some reason. But, the Vikings is tough is because you still have JJ McCarthy behind you as well.
Yeah.
I'm not optimistic. I think something miraculous would have to happen, and they would have to go to some, no team that is fully ready needs a quarterback, right? So you're probably going to a scenario where this team around you isn't that great, and a aging, expiring quarterback, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah. I don't think I love it either. I mean, obviously, if
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers goes back to Pittsburgh, it's probably the best case scenario for his
Yeah.
fans. I don't see him. If he goes to Minnesota somehow, I would be surprised. Geno Smith, I would be surprised if he's a starter. Mariota, a plus backup. I don't know if he earned starting reps. And I know
Right.
Kirk Cousins wants to be a starter, but I don't see that happening
Yeah,
in a
but
lot
yeah,
of
where
places right now. Yeah, so like
exactly?
Rodgers out of that group is probably the best option. Depending on if he's a Steeler, he's a Viking, but if he's in Cancun and retired, that's not going to help anybody. As
No way.
far as the running back position goes, Dean, this is a pretty deep group here, and there could be a lot of changes in the scenery. Let's talk about the Super Bowl MVP first and Kenneth Walker. There has been rumors that teams that could want him in a committee are targeting him. I've seen the Giants linked to him with Cam Scadaboo. I've seen the Broncos linked to him, with RJ Harvey. I think those would be weird fits for Kenneth Walker, especially considering his price
Absolutely.
tag. Let's just be honest. The best fit would be the Chiefs for him and his fantasy value. I mean, the ability to go and garner a 3 down back for them is a must. The only running back they have on the roster right now is Brashard Smith. So Kenneth Walker automatically slots in as the guy in Kansas City for a team that has needed a running back who can command really good work and be really efficient as well. Can be great in the passing game, which they've targeted a lot of running backs as well. So Kansas City, who's opened up cap space, it makes sense. It would be the best case scenario for Kenneth Walker and his fantasy value. While, New Orleans, I think, is a sneaky team that could be in on him as well that hasn't really been linked to him.
Ooh, I did not hear the Saints one, but that'd be interesting. You know what? The running back position is tricky. I
It
always
is.
view as free agent running backs are a great final piece for a roster, right? We saw it with why Derrick Henry did so well with the Ravens, right? This is an established contending team. Now we can just spend a little bit more money on a veteran running back. It goes there. Saquon Barkley, same thing with the Eagles, right? We have a huge roster. We're ready to go win a championship. He goes there, explodes. They do win a championship. So for free agent running backs, that's the best thing you need is a roster that is ready to go, ready to compete, and where that running back position is that final piece in the puzzle, and you can put it all together. Because we can see the Derrick Henry Saquon, outcome, or we can rewind a few, years ago and have DeMarco Murray going to the Titans, right? Where that just went off the deep
That
end,
yeah.
right? He wasn't the same. The Titans teams were not good. He just got a bag and, they fall apart. So it's really going to be about where he goes and if he is that final piece because Kenneth Walker's awesome. We've been waiting for him to get the workload without Zach Charbonnet, and he did, and he was awesome. But going to a team that's not ready to win, that he's not that final piece, that worries me. The Chiefs, though, I can get behind that easily.
So Travis Etienne, right, and probably the second best option guy available. He's already been
Absolutely.
linked to the Chiefs, but he's had some other teams as well. Besides Kansas City, Dean, since we already did it with Walker, we still think that would probably be the best fit for Etienne too.
Mhm.
Who else would you think would be a great fit for Travis Etienne?
Well, here's the thing about Travis Etienne, man. He is such a dual threat that I think he can be, if we're talking fantasy wise, fantasy productive as a RB2 on his own team. We've seen it before in the past, right? Where multiple guys on teams, there may be a bell cow running back and then the pass catcher, right? For
Yep.
Travis Etienne, I think anywhere he goes, being a dual threat, he's going to be a guy that you consider on your draft days, that he might pop in your lineup down the road because he can do it all from the backfield. Now, places that I would put him into, man, that's the thing. He can kind of fit into anywhere. If any team wants to spend a little bit extra on that running back depth, maybe they have a young guy that they just drafted or are going to draft, and they want kind of a guy that's been through it a little bit. Listen, him and Kenneth Walker, same age, right? But that dual threatness of him can make him valuable anywhere in the league. So for me, I'm still a big ETN fan, and I think he can, have a nice second act wherever he does go.
Yeah, I think ETN is an interesting one for sure. And the fact that he had a resurgence under Liam Cohen, I think staying in Jacksonville would be great for his fantasy value overall. Like, I would love to see him back in Jacksonville and ultimately producing, what he did this year. He was great in Jacksonville. That running game was really good and a big part of why they returned to the playoffs this past year. I think, if he goes elsewhere, there's a little bit of questions. Can he maintain the efficiency he had this year? Because he's not one of the highest in missed tackle rate. He's not one of the best, in terms of explosive run rate. He's not like that type of running back, but he's a
Right.
solid 3 down back that's a good receiver and plays really well in a good run blocking scheme like the Jaguars have. So I'd love to see him return to Jacksonville for his fantasy value's sake. Some guys that, are a little bit on the borderline here have been in committees. We're looking at Tyler Algier, Rico Dowdle, Kenneth Gainwell, and then the other one, Aaron Jones, who was released by the Minnesota Vikings. Dean, talk to me about this grouping. Is there any sort of, fits that stand off the charts for you a little bit?
Man, you know what? This is going to be a tough group, and it's might be guys that fall into pretty sweet situations if seeing where possibly Walker and ETN go, right?
Yep.
If for some reason the Chiefs miss out on both, right? You plug in a Dowdle to a Chiefs offense. Listen, we've seen Dowdle. He's awesome. He can run all over the field and be very effective. But now, in this example, if the Chiefs get him for a cheaper price, I mean, man, that is just sweet. Algier being in that two-headed back, maybe going somewhere that he can get more leeway. But he got a lot of work, even with
Yeah.
Bijan in front of him, right? I mean, we've seen the years with Arthur Smith. It's been unreal. Listen, there's going to be some openings. I think, you look at Pittsburgh. I don't think Johnson wasn't the draft pick that they thought he would be. Even back in the Carolinas, like with the Panthers, I know Dowdle's gone and Chuba Hubbard has that big contract, but listen, we've seen Chuba Hubbard get hurt, not being reliable, and someone step up. So there's a lot of places. This group of running backs, I think, just kind of have to wait and see what the tops do, and they may be in good scenarios.
Yeah, I think I look at the Arizona Cardinals as a team that will be heavily involved in this type of a market. LaFleur's scheme is going to fit well for a lot of these guys. I think Aaron Jones, while I expect him to, potentially be vying for a contender spot at this point of his career, I wouldn't even rule out a Green Bay, but he would fit really well in that scheme. He's played in that scheme now his entire career, basically from this point, and I think he would fit well. And like a guy like, you add a bruiser because James Conner's out the door basically right now. He's not going to be back with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
You look at a player like Rico Dallado, why can't he be the early down back in this type of an offense and have a lot of success in it? So I look at that fit and I find it very interesting. And I also think like they would be a team that doubles up potentially in this running back market. Is Trey Benson a guy they want to continue trying to go out there, or do they want to go Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier in that type of a duo and a tandem backfield? I think that'll be interesting. I also think the Cowboys could be a team that doubles up in the RB backfield as well. Javonte Williams was great last year. I would not be surprised if they bring in a tandem for him to take some of that workload off. He's had a ton of injuries throughout his career. Maintaining his health is a massive part, and I think Dallas's success long term. And on the AFC side of things, I look at a team that mentioned they want another running back, and I see a guy, like a Rashad White fitting really well with Ashton Genty in that type of a situation for the Chargers, or not the Chargers, the Raiders, sorry. And then you look at the Chargers. They've been linked to Najee Harris once again. Does he go back there, or do they try to build a tandem with Amarian Hampton and somebody else? As far as the AFC teams go, and I look at it, there's one team that I think will be trying to vie for a little bit of a running back help. I think it's the Bengals. I know Chase Brown has had a massive workload. They've been trying to pair a little guy to go along with him. I would not be surprised if they go and try to target one of these veteran backs to go pair with Chase Brown this upcoming season. I think the running back market, like you mentioned, is going to be a domino effect. We're going to get Walker and ETN, and then we're going to see how things fall. And there's teams that are trying to get Jeremiah Love. We'll see how early he goes, but he is definitely a possibility for the Arizona Cardinals. Tennessee Titans have had him on a visit, although I think that's pretty early for him when those two teams have a ton of needs elsewhere. But, if he falls to 8 or 9 to the Saints or the Chiefs, Love would make a massive impact on both those squads. So let's move on to the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill, the big name. Dean, does he have anything left in the tank?
You know what, man? I mean, you can't teach fast, and he's fast, right? So I think so. I know the easy answer is just like, hey, how about just a Chiefs reunion, right? I don't know if that's going to work out, but man, I say if he finds somewhere he's comfortable with and a team that's willing to take him on, I'm not ready to rule him out. Last year, I thought he could be potentially back into that, top tier of like fantasy receivers. Unfortunately, I was wrong. That injury didn't look good whatsoever. But like I said, can't teach fast, and that dude is fast.
Yes, he is. I think the Steelers would be an intriguing fit as well. A lot of targets are open there, right? It's just DK Metcalf and a bunch of guys.
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, it's a bunch of guys that aren't great. And I think Tyreek Hill could go into that situation with Aaron Rodgers and potentially change that offense. They were so dink and dunk last year. They didn't really have a down the field offense because of the weapons that they had. I think he would be a great fit there. Mike Evans, I think, is an interesting one, a veteran guy seems like Tampa Bay leaving Tampa Bay is a real possibility right now. I think Tennessee is an option for him. Like I know he's trying to obviously, win another championship, but Tennessee's a great opportunity where he can step in, earn a ton of volume in an offense that needs wide receivers and playmakers for Cam Ward. I would not be surprised with that pairing with Mike Evans either.
No, yeah, listen, Mike Evans, he's gonna have his pick of litter, I think, man. I think any team would be lucky to have a future Hall of Famer in their wide receiver core. This is a guy that's going to be reliable, sure hands, big, tall. I think any team would like to see him. And honestly, I would love to see him with a team like the Chargers. I think maybe if they move on from Keenan Allen, they want to rely on their young guys. Like him going to a hardball program would be so awesome to see. I don't see him really anywhere else where like he knows that he cannot, kind of win, right? We're not going to see him in a Jets uniform. We're not going to see him anywhere like that. But maybe a San Francisco could be a place as well, right? Like San Francisco loves to go for it. They want to compete, especially in that division, right? And with their loss, Brandon Ayuk is not going to be there. Jawan Jennings is another free agent as well. If you can get a reliable guy and a future Hall of Famer like Mike Evans, I don't hate that whatsoever.
I don't either. I think it would be very nice. Wandell
Oh yeah.
Robinson, another name that broke out this past year. I think there's a lot of teams that have a ton of cap space that are interested in him. He finally was a down the field option for the Giants and proved, like, hey, without Malik Neighbors, I could be that guy in an offense potentially. I think he's going to get some good money this offseason. A fit that I would love to see is in division, the Washington Commanders. I think that would be interesting. Debo seems
Yep.
like there's no chance Debo's returning this upcoming season. I would love to see Wandell Robinson in that offense, in that slot role. I think he would do great alongside Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. And they got to try to extend this window with Jaden Daniels' rookie contract. They got to add talent on the
Absolutely.
offensive side of the ball while rebuilding that defense because the window is starting to shrink for that rookie contract. And you got to go add playmakers around him. So I'd love to see Wandell there. What are your thoughts on Romeo Dobbs, Dean?
Ooh, Romeo Dobbs, man. He's someone I think we're still trying to figure out, man. It's so disappointing, and he's been in such a crowded receiver room of kind of just, good to very good, right?
Yeah.
And he's had games where he's gone off, and everyone's like, "This is it. This is the Romeo Dobbs game," and then he disappears for 3 weeks, right? And then he comes back and scores a touchdown, and you can't figure him out. For him, I think he needs to go somewhere where it's just like, yes, I need wide receiver help. I think Washington's a good spot. I mentioned like the San Francisco 49ers. What do you think about the Colts? Thoughts on the
Mm,
Colts with him?
I
If
think
they're
the
gonna
Colts
if they're gonna miss out on Pierce, and we don't really know with Pittman and his contract, thoughts on the Colts with him?
I think the Colts are interesting. I think it's how much do they trust Josh Downs, right? Josh Downs is
Yeah.
basically their slot guy. Do they, do they continue to go to Josh Downs as that? And there's been reports they don't really like Josh Downs that much. Playing time changes every other week.
Yeah.
Romeo Dobbs, I wouldn't hate that fit. I think it would be frisky. Dobbs is basically like everybody's most underrated free agent. I don't know if I'm buying that. I just think he's like a above average guy. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind the Saints. I think the Saints would be a solid fit for him.
Mhm.
I think the Saints will be in the market to try to pair another receiver with Chris Olave because outside of Olave, that room is very, very thin back there. So I would not be surprised with that. Former Saint Rashid Shaheed, massive impact for the Seahawks. Where do you think his deep threat skills could, pair well best?
Man, I would love to see him stay. I think that's my first thing. I really would like to see him stay in Seattle. I think them acquiring, the Seattle Seahawks acquiring him at the deadline was just so awesome. And he was such a good, big factor in the Super Bowl run. That's my first one that I think about as well. And then also like, hey, if the Dolphins are going all in, man, pairing him with Waddle, like that would be sick. If you go ahead and get Malik Willis and then you get another pairing of Shaheed with him, like I don't hate that. It
That's
keeps kind
solid.
of the fireworks that we had with the Dolphins these past few years, right? He's not a Tyreek Hill, but man, he's close. He's fast like that.
Yeah, that is a nice pairing right there. The one obviously everybody's talking about though is Alec Pierce. Listen, the
Hmm.
Titans, I already, had Mike Evans potentially going there. It seems like Pierce to the Titans may be the most likely thing this offseason. Team with a ton of money, team that needs wide receiver help, in division guy that they already see twice a year, coming off a breakout season. Give Cam Ward help, give him some help, and they're going to try to add pass catchers because Brian Dable is going to throw the ball a ton. So they
Yep.
need wide receivers. Alec Pierce makes a ton of sense for them. I also think with Shaheed in general, he's the type of guy that can go make an impact, almost on any single team in a different type of fashion, whether it's kick return, punt return, deep balls. I got the Steelers potentially as a good fit for him. I do think, I look at a team that needs explosive guys. Why can he not go to the Buffalo Bills? Like, what's stopping that pairing from potentially happening? They added
That's
DJ Moore. Yeah, Khalil Shakir,
yeah,
Shaheed as well. You don't have like a wide receiver one, but you got a solid trio there. So
absolutely.
I think there's some fits right there that can make sense. Also, Jawan Jennings could be going to the Raiders. I think that one makes a lot of sense for both sides. I think Jennings going to the Raiders, you have a guy who's commanded wide receiver one value at different spurts of his career with guys injured, showed really well during those periods. Kubiak's scheme, while it's not identical to a Shanahan offense, it's similar. I think he could pair well in that type of an offense.
Yeah, for sure. I just to finish off, I guess the wide receivers too. I was holding back on saying a certain team because I had Alex Pierce for I think the Pats. I think the Pats are great. They
Mm,
just got rid of Diggs. They have a good receiving core, right? It's in a way like that Packers one, right? Like
yeah,
everyone's really good on there, and I think that's a great jumping point for Alec Pierce to be like, hey, all right, hey, I can stand out. I don't have to be the guy that gets all these targets, but when it comes to a big play that they need, I think him and May, that would be a connection that I could see throughout the entire year. And I think he'd be a great fit in New England.
I like that. I like that a lot. Stephon Diggs, though, is he going to jail or is he playing?
Uh who know? I don't who signs him?
I don't know. Like, I
We're
genuinely think like he's just not gonna be able to play.
yeah, well, yeah, that yeah, you're right. I agree. I played the
So
fifth.
Stephon Diggs, all jail team 2026. He's officially signing with Alcatraz for that one. All right.
That's a good roster so far.
It is a good roster. There's a lot of guys that are adding to that roster. The Chiefs receiving room is, could really form something special. Reek, Stephon Diggs, Rasheed Rice. That would be scary for law enforcement.
Teams
All
would
right.
kill for that
Anyways.
receiving room.
All right. With tight ends, Kyle Pitts was franchise tagged. He's
Yeah,
off the market. That really changes the tight ends overall. We're not even going to talk about Travis Kelsey. He's either a Chief or he's retiring. From
as
what
it should
I've
be. Yeah.
heard, he's coming back this upcoming season. Dallas Goddard doesn't seem like the Eagles want to bring him back, Dean. Do you think he fits anywhere better than Philly?
No, I don't. I think that's the spot for him, but I understand that Philly is trying to move on. And for him, uh, yeah, the fit, because he's a guy that can do it all. Maybe he's not at the elite level, everything like a George Kittle, right? But I think he's quite two steps under. But I think that anywhere he goes, he can be a fit. So it's hard to pinpoint somewhere, but just for the sake of things, like just stay in Philly, man. Ride it
Yeah,
out, right? Like
yeah.
do
I
do
mean,
the
that's the
do the
best thing for
Kelsey.
his fantasy value.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it'd be a headache to everyone else who still has, AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, but we'll see what happens there.
Yep. All right. Isaiah Likely. He's a hot name. Finally getting an opportunity potentially to be a tight end one. I absolutely love the Carolina Panthers for him. I think it's the best fit overall. They need a tight end desperately. Obviously, you're trying to see if Bryce Young's the answer. At quarterback, give him some more weapons, see what happens. That's probably the goal of that offense. Isaiah Likely makes a ton of sense for them. They haven't had any tight end production. I think Dave Canales wants to get that going. Isaiah Likely on a 2 to 3 year deal, that would be electric. I think that would fit perfectly for them overall and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could probably try to come up with maybe a two or three like right behind there, but for Isaiah Likely, I think this is just what everyone's waiting for. Is it's like, all right, hey, tight end one opportunities for him, right? We thought that I think the Ravens would kick Mark Andrews to the curb a lot earlier, but he's still there, and now likely being a free agent, he's going to get the opportunities. And man, he is talented. He doesn't have to line up on the line. He can be on the outside. Like he is super talented. And for fantasy wise, I'm gonna be licking my chops. I can't wait for him to get an opportunity to be a tight end one. And I think you nailed it right on the head. I think Carolina would be an awesome fit for him. Yeah, I really can't think of anywhere else besides the only other one I kind of like is Minnesota. If they're like, hey, all right,
Okay.
Hawkinson's done. I like that in a kind of him as a system. I think that just helps Justin Jefferson. I think that helps whatever quarterback may be week one, even if it's JJ McCarthy. That's my only number two, but I think you nailed it around the head. I think Carolina would be perfect.
So for the veterans, you got Kate Otten, you got David Njoku, you got Darren Waller, you got Jonnu Smith. Out of that bunch, I'm thinking Jonnu Smith, honestly, is the most intriguing to me. He had a really good year in 24, went to a 3 tight end set in 25 for Pittsburgh, got buried
Yep.
in the depth chart. If he can find a situation where he gets that volume once again, I think Jonnu Smith could be a borderline tight end one again. Those other guys, I'm like, I don't know about that. Waller gets hurt too much. Otten, I don't think makes a big difference in a different scene. You have Chigo Conwell. Seems like he might be going back to Tennessee. I also think that could be a team in the market for Isaiah Likely as well. We'll see, but I'm not really super high on that group.
Yeah, me either. I think, like you said, for me, I don't. Jonnu Smith and for me it's Njoku. I think that's the next two for me.
Yeah.
Njoku, I won't really give up on. Now, is he going to like light it up, and is he going to be on everyone's draft board? Maybe not. But we see what happens in a fantasy season. We see what happens in an NFL season. Injuries happen, and he might surprise you if he goes to a certain spot. Maybe in a world where he becomes that guy in Carolina or Minnesota, right, where other teams miss out. I can talk myself into David Njoku, and I think he's just an overall beast. Like that physicality that he has is awesome, and you really can't tackle him. It's not easy. So I think him and Jonnu are like right there at behind likely for this group.
100%. All right, guys.
Yeah.
There is our free agent best fits video. Right. Drop a comment down below what you think the best fit would be in fantasy football for the 2026 season. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz fantasy football content. Me and Dean will catch you all next time.